Can you believe these patterns only use one block?
Well, today we're going to share our favorite one-block quilt patterns.
Hi, it's Donna Robertson.
And Fran Morgan with Fabric Café.
Have you ever made a one-block quilt? They can really help you get in the groove and let you knock out a quilt in no time at all.
So today we're sharing our top 6 go-to one-block quilt patterns. Let's check out the first one and talk about what we mean by one block. Now this is the Crystalline quilt, and we love this quilt because it is a one block. Now let me take just a moment and explain what we mean by a one block quilt. That basically means that this quilt, as an example, has 4 rows across and 6 rows down. But every block in each row and all the way down is the exact same block. So if you look at this quilt here, we have the block right here. And you can see that we have a rectangle with a little square and then another piece and another piece. Now this block is made over and over and over again. Then we have turned this block so that it creates this really cool star pattern, and it almost looks like the star is spinning a little bit and it's throwing all the colors off, which is very cool. Now, what's the best thing about a one block quilt and why do we love them so much? It is because you get in the groove, you make the block once, and then as you go, you can see, oh wait, this goes here and that goes there, because you're already in the groove and you know it. So it makes it really super fast and efficient. Okay, we have some pieces and parts for this quilt. Let's get it on the table and check it out. First thing we're gonna do, and we all know how super easy this is, we are gonna make a strip assembly. Basically, we are gonna take 2 long strips of fabric that are cut selvage to selvage, and of course the pattern steps out exactly how wide to cut these and everything. After we sew these 2 strips together on their long edges, then we're gonna cut off a little piece of it. And we call this a unit. All right, so this piece basically is this piece right here. Boom, very, very simple. So this is piece 1. Now, our second piece is pretty easy as well. So we are going to use a rectangle and a half square triangle, and we're just gonna turn them the way the instructions say so that they're just so. And this is like our second unit that builds our block. Okay, so our third unit to build the block, also very, very simple. I'm gonna move it over here. And what this third section consists of, or unit is what I should say, is a square, a half square triangle, and a square. We're gonna sew these 3 pieces together, and then that's gonna be on the side here. So these are 3 very simple units that are built, and that is how our block is made. So you can see here, here is, I'm gonna put this on the quilt in a second. Here is our unit with the square, half square triangle square, which is equals this. Then our middle is a rectangle and a half square triangle, which equals this. And then here is our very, very simple strip assembly, which is right here. And then you've sewn them all together. Now what's really great about this is because it's a one block, once you get going on this and you start building it, you're gonna remember, oh yeah, this goes here and this goes here. This is always in the middle and it goes this way, because you're gonna do it repetitively. And so it's gonna make it go really, 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 really fast, which I love.
I love the fact that if you're just looking at this block, you would never dream it was gonna make this quilt.
Yep. But what's cool is you're just doing this and then you're going to put them together and rotate them. So here is this. I mean, this is where it would go on the quilt. Now what's really cool is this next one, I'm just gonna take this, give it a quick rotate. It goes right there. Very simple. You can rotate it again. It goes right there. Very simple. I mean, it's the coolest thing.
It is really cool.
So let's look at this gorgeous fabric. You can see how easy this is to put together. It's gonna go super fast and it's gonna be dynamite in
this. It is going to be dynamite.
Yes, so our focus fabric, very fun batik. I love this kind of a green teal color. in the background with the navy on top and all these little fun circles inside of circles. It's just really cool. It's going to go everywhere you see this kind of wavy blue gold color.
Love it.
So it is, it's so fun. It's so me.
It is definitely you.
You know, we all have our style and our preferences.
Yeah.
And I love this kind of fun, funky, and these bright colors. It's so fun.
Yes.
Okay, so our number 2 fabric, which pairs perfectly, is this yummy turquoise jade batik that goes with it. And this is also a batik. It is going to show up everywhere you see the beige on this quilt.
Ooh, gonna be pretty.
Yeah, and I love the way it just kind of looks like it's, I don't know, watery maybe?
It kind of has a water look to it, yeah.
Yeah, so fun. And to top it all off, always our cherry, our little punch, our little pow, is this great kind of a navy denim batik. It kind of has that denim color in the background with the navy kind of spots on top.
Yeah.
Almost like that toothbrush technique where you used to flick the...
We've done all of those things.
Oh, yeah, okay. But look how beautiful it looks with the
It is
focus,
good.
too. It's really going to anchor it. It's going to go everywhere you see the darker color here. Oh, it's just so yummy.
And it's really cool how the number 1 fabric really is, these two are just tied together perfectly with that. So you're picking up the aqua in the background of this one, and then the blue and the circles. Love it.
I love the blues. I mean, it is so pretty.
It's gorgeous.
It's gorgeous. And you rotate those blocks and it creates that star, which is so neat.
And you know, I think that the number 3 fabric really causes a whole lot of movement going on in that quilt.
Yep.
It is great.
It is really, really great. Okay, the kit information on this. It is called Bubble Bounce. Boom! The name of the pattern is Crystalline, and it is from our Make It Modern with 3-Yard Quilts book.
Now this quilt is called Irish Christmas, and I think for me one of my favorite parts about a 1-block quilt is you start feeling like a magician because you make one basic block, and then as you're putting those rows together and you're turning the blocks, it just comes together and creates this gorgeous illusion that you've done so much more work than you have. So let's talk about the fabric that we have on this one. Let me show you the block on this one because it is super, super simple. You're thinking that you're gonna have to do a whole lot of work, and the answer is no, you do not. This is the block. Isn't that cool?
It is really cool.
It's a 4-patch, it's another 4-patch, and it's a half-square triangle for each one. That is about as simple as you can get.
Oh my
You
gosh.
put those 4 those 4 squares together then, and then what happens is as you twist and turn them, just like Fran was showing you earlier, you're just going to take those blocks and start turning them and matching these things up in the middle, and when you get through, you've got the Irish chain with a little square in the middle.
I love it. And you know what's really neat that I've learned on some of these 1-blocks is that whenever you start sewing your rows together, this little trick of matching this here is like a little indicator. Oh, do I have it right? Because you're matching them.
Yeah.
So I know that I've used that and it really is helpful. So this is a great pattern. Fast, fun, and gorgeous.
And it really is, it's one of those that you get a lot of satisfaction about because Irish chain is a very traditional pattern that most people love, but it's put together just a little different here than what you would normally see.
It's brilliant.
Now let's look at what it's going to look like in this gorgeous batik. It's going to be so fun. This is going to be our number 1 fabric, and we will use them in the half-square triangles that we've made for this part of the block. So this will be in the number 1 spot, so everywhere you see the cardinals over here will be this blue. And then we need that light color to get your contrast, so the lighter color is going to go everywhere you see the lights in the background of this quilt.
And I love how that number 2 fabric has just a slight bit of gold in it. Not very, I mean, it is very subtle.
Oh, that's a
but
good point,
it picks
yeah.
up a little bit of the gold that's in the focus.
Yeah, that is really cool, Fran.
like
I didn't notice that.
I mean, it's slight, but it's there.
So that'll be everywhere you see in the white. And then our number 3 fabric, which is going to be your anchor for the quilt, that's going to be what grounds the quilt. It's your darkest of your 3 colors, and that will be everywhere you see the red.
That's gonna really contrast well and pop. You're gonna really see that Irish jade.
I think so too. So let's look at an image of this. Nice. I like the way that turned out.
Pretty.
Very pretty. So you get that Irish chain look, and you look at that and you think you're going to be doing something a whole lot more than what you just did, making those simple blocks and then turning them.
Yep. It's like you said, it's like magic.
It is like
magic. It really is. It is gorgeous.
So I really like the way this one turned out. And this kit is called Blue Canopy. It's the Irish Christmas pattern from the book Quick Christmas 3-Yard Quilts.
Now this is one of my favorite quilts that we've done. It is called Synergy, and believe it or not, this is a 1-block quilt. It is amazing. It's super simple to put together. We have squares and half-square triangles, and the block basically is right here. And what we've done to make this 1 block is we've done a half-square triangle, we've bordered it here and then here. This is a square and this is a square. So it's almost kind of sort of like a 4-patch, but it's made with half-square triangles and squares. Super easy. The center of the block is where these kiss right here. So it's really an illusion when you put this together and you rotate your blocks, and it creates this like huge pinwheel that's spinning in the background with these squares floating like you're peeking through the window. So super cool. Let's get it on the table and check out the fabric. So this block is basically right here. We have 2 squares, 2 half-square triangle squares that are bordered on 2 sides. So you're just making that, and then we'll turn them. So let me show you what we're doing. So the first thing is a half-square triangle. So after we do this, we're gonna take a strip of fabric, our number 3, and we're just gonna sew it onto one side. And we don't cut these to size before we start. We really like to chain piece them and sew them all, all your half-square triangles on your strip, and then cut them even. Just makes it really go fast. After you do that, you're going to sew the strip again on the other side, on the second side. So that would go, so you probably have another strip. I'm just gonna show you with this one. You're gonna sew it on this side. So
I like the way you pointed out earlier to me that you put one on the light side and one on the dark side. Yeah. That makes it really, really simple.
Yeah. Just be sure and watch the direction of this, because you could do it. Nope, that wouldn't work. So you're right. Don't you love that? So see how I turn that? It makes it both on the dark. So what a neat little trick, Mom.
And one of the other things that's really important is what great diagrams we have in our books, because we show you step by step, and every one of them has it illustrated on which sides you put it on as well.
And this is very simple. So you're gonna be making these, and then after this is made, all you're gonna do is sew a square. So your unit's gonna consist of your half-square triangle bordered and your square. Now, let's look at the next unit, okay? Now what we're gonna have is a half-square triangle, just like we did there. And we are going to do the exact same thing where we border it. And as Mom pointed out, which I think is so incredibly handy, you've got one on the dark side, one on the light side. Those are our 2 sides that we're bordering it with. Then we're gonna take a square of our focus fabric and sew it right there. So it's almost like these are reversed, but with the different fabrics, all in the same square. So here's one unit, here's the second unit. Now, let's look at our block all together. All right, now look at this block. Is this not cool? So here's our first unit with our bordered half-square triangle and square. Here's our second unit, bordered half-square triangle, square. And you sew those 2 together, and it creates this block.
I love the way it makes that look like you've made a great big half-square triangle and put this on top of it.
It's kind of great. It's kind of interesting, and what's really who would have thunk it? That's kind of our little thing that we say. Who would have thunk it? When you make these and then you put them together, that is this. And when you turn it, these corners come together to make this pinwheel, and then it creates this like little lattice work on top. That is so cool.
So magic.
It is so magic.
It is.
This is the only square you need to know how to make to make this quilt.
Isn't that
It
incredible?
is so incredible. So love it. All right, look at the synergy in this fabric.
It
We've
is
got
gorgeous.
all of these colors coming together beautifully.
It is such fun fabric.
It really is, and it has all of these gorgeous colors in it and all of these great geometrics and spots and splatters and lines and just goes on.
I remember when I first started quilting, and sometimes I would look at a fabric like this, and I would feel a little bit overwhelmed. But I was like, I don't know what to do with that. But oh my goodness, 3-yard quilts are the perfect place for you to use a fabric like this.
And this is the perfect fabric for this quilt.
Absolutely.
We're going to show you in just a minute, but let's step you through where it goes. So we have our focus fabric with all the gorgeous colors. It's going to go everywhere. The black is here. So we're going to have it in our half square triangles and in one of our solid blocks. Then our number 2 fabric for our contrast is a nice, it's kind of a little bit of a light putty color with a little bit of texture. It's going to go everywhere you see the gray on this quilt. So that's going to give us some really nice contrast. Then our number 3 is this yummy royal purple. I kind of like purple.
I do too. I really do. I like purple
That's
a lot.
going to give us the contrast that we need for this right here. So everywhere you see the green, that is where this purple is going to go. We got a little on the border and the binding as well. It's going to give us a great pop. Now, this turned out gorgeous.
I love it.
Love it. I love how we've used a really large print and we've put it in these smaller blocks, and it gives us almost a watercolor illusion on the quilt itself.
It also makes it sort of look like you've got a scrappy quilt going on. Like you've gone in there and gotten all your scraps and put them together and come up with this fantastic quilt. But you know, when I first tried to scrap quilt, I would always try to match my scraps. And this one takes all of the guesswork out. It's already matched up for you, but
it
gives you
is so
that look.
great. And I think the purple, just being kind of a solid texture, gives it the anchor that it needs and it unifies it. I am in love with this.
I think it's gorgeous.
So this is definitely a quilt I would do.
Yes.
Definitely. Okay, so we were talking about the fact that these are 1-block quilts and how easy they are. The synergy pattern is from our 1-block 3-yard quilts book. Now, every single pattern in this book uses just 1 block. And we do little tricks like we've showed you here, how we've turned them. We build them a specific way so they go together really, really quick. So I think it's a really handy book to have. And just to give you another example, the quilt behind us is called Heritage. Now this is also a 1-block quilt. And what's really cool is that little kind of knot looking part, that is the center of the block. So another thing that happens here is it gives you really nice symmetry in your quilt, which I think is great. And this one's really an illusion because it looks like the block's somewhere else and it's not. Kind of like this one. So what a great one, and Heritage is another great example of a good 1-block quilt. All right, let's get you the kit information on this beautiful kit. It is called Floral Fantasia. Once again, it is our synergy pattern from the 1-block 3-yard quilt book.
Now this quilt is called Sugar Pie. And when I designed this one, I was always thinking of the names. What are we going to name it? What are we going to name it? And I thought that it kind of looked like one of those candies with the little papers twisted. And so I thought, well, it's a sweet thing. And somehow or another, Sugar Pie popped in my head. I think it might be my southern roots. It is a 1-block quilt. It's made with strip piecing. It goes together so fast because everything is strip pieced, and it is super easy to do. So let's look at the great fabric we have for this one. I'm going to do pieces of parts on this one and show you how easy it is to make this. We're going to start off with a strip piece. And I remember the first quilt I ever saw made with strip piecing. I think it might have been my second quilt festival long, long ago in a galaxy far, far away.
We're not telling.
And this lady was doing strip piecing as a demo in her booth. And I was so excited about it. And she had a little book, and I bought the book, and it was all hand drawn.
Oh, wow.
Well, it was before personal computers.
Yeah. but it got it across, and look, it's a
It did.
staple.
Yeah, and I loved it. I thought it was so fun. So we're going to strip piece. We're going to put all of our pieces together, and then we do what we call units. So you can always know when you're reading one of our patterns, we're going to tell you to strip piece, and then we're going to call this a unit. So then as we go through, you'll know which of those strip pieces, and this pattern especially has several different strip piecing going on. So we're going to put this one here, another strip piece, and this strip piece is going to have 3 different strips. It's going to have your dark in the middle, it's going to have your lights on the outside edge. Now we're going to cut those units, and this is the unit we cut off of this. So this one is going to go on either side. So here and here. Yeah. So that created that first little light corner up here. Super simple.
Oh, super simple.
And then we're going to make another strip piece. Now this one has a lot of strip piecing, but that is going to make it go very, very fast.
Very fast.
So we're going to take this, and we're putting the big piece here with the little on the side. And you know, that's what's so cool about the strip piecing is the different sizes of strips you make are then going to create the strips that you need for the piecing part, but it goes together so fast instead of having to cut a bunch of little squares.
Yeah, I don't want to cut those squares. I like this method.
No, not at all. So this unit goes here and here.
Awesome.
So it is really building that. You can start to see how it's building, and that contrast is making all of the difference. Now we have one more strip piecing to do, and then we'll be finished.
Okay.
Now, do remember that we have our seam allowances on this, so it's beginning to look a little bit large in comparison to what it needs to be.
It does all come together perfectly.
It does. So we're going to show you a finished block when we get through. So then we're going to cut the unit off of the side of this one. We're going to need 2 of these units, and we're going to sew one at the top, and we'll sew one at the bottom. And then you can kind of see how that's going to be all together. Let's scoot it like this and show you a finished block.
Yeah.
And so we're going to put the block over here. The finished block is just gorgeous.
It is so pretty.
Nice? And a really cool part about this one is that also you can use a directional fabric if you'd like, and that way it will fit perfectly in the quilts as you're going along.
And these just all come together, and then our little corners kind of kiss like wait.
Right,
like
and that makes those little twisty looking.
I like that.
Yeah, I like the way that one turned out too. Let's take a look at the fabric. It's gorgeous.
Yes.
This reminds me of the hydrangeas in my front flower bed.
Oh.
Such a pretty flower.
Yes.
And that's going to go everywhere you see the center of this block.
So pretty. And the butterflies. Oh.
I like the butterflies in that a lot. And then we have our number 2 fabric, and the number 2 fabric is going to be everywhere you see the light color. And then our number 3 fabric is that yummy purple. It's going to make that accent, that really grounding color that you need for that block.
So nice. I love the
nice.
purple.
I do too. Well, let's look at an image of this one. Isn't that one sweet?
It is really sweet. It's like sugar pie. You know, you're from the South, you have to say sugar pie.
Yeah, you got to say it just right, with just the right accent.
So pretty.
This quilt seems to just call for sweet fabric.
Yes.
To go along with its name. And I really like the way that the hydrangeas also border on this outside border. That really is an extra little touch.
It does. I like that. I like that it gives some texture to the border. It is really pretty. That's a good point. I'm glad you pointed that out because it is really nice.
Well, it kind of adds that extra pop.
Yeah.
So this kit is called Hydrangea Bliss. It's the sugar pie pattern from the Pretty Darn Quick book.
Now, when it comes to one-block quilts, this one looks really complicated and is super easy and super fast to put together. I know because I've made it twice, and it is so much fun to do. All right, our block here. We have this right here. So basically what it is a strip with a half square triangle, a square, a half square triangle, and a square. And then we've put 2 strips on each side of the block in 2 different colors so that whenever you turn them and put them all together, it creates this great big star with lots of radiating color out from the center. And it's so much fun, so fast to put together. Let's get it on the table. Check out some great fabric. So this is a neat block because once again, it has that magic quality like what you were saying on some of the other ones. How you make the block and when you do it, you don't realize it's going to come together in such a beautiful way. But basically what we have here is a center unit with a rectangle and a half square triangle. Then we have a half square triangle with 2 blocks on each side. We're going to sew those together, and then we're going to sew a strip on one side of one of our fabrics and a strip on the other side of the other fabric. That's it.
I like the way you did that and having the alternate colors on the sides. That's really nice.
Yeah. It kind of adds a little extra something to it, and so when you put it together and you rotate your blocks, you can see how it creates the star here, which is so cool.
That is fun.
I love it.
You know, a lot of people love the sewing, the pieces, and then sometimes they get around to putting the rows together. But when you're making a one-block quilt, it really is an impetus to get the whole thing finished so you can see what it really looks like.
Yes.
It's gorgeous.
Good point. Love it. Okay. We have some very pretty fabric, and this is very cool. This is a very modern, which is something that's definitely up my alley. And this is a large print that kind of looks like
where they go through and they kind of cut a road through something, and you can see all the sediment, the different layers. A geologist would love this.
Oh, maybe that's what it looks like.
Yeah, your Aunt Michelle.
But I love it. It's got some green, some gray, some navy, some beige. I mean, it's got a little bit of everything. And this is going to be our focus fabric. So it's going to go everywhere you see like the green stripe here, the green and blue stripe here. So then our number 2 paired perfectly, a really nice rough texture, kind of an off-white that pairs so beautifully with this. Coordinates from its texture, I think.
Yes.
Of course, its color is perfect, but the texture is so great. And that is going to go everywhere you see the kind of the white and blue print here. And then for our number 3, our really big pop is this really beautiful kind of emerald green, jade green. It is very dark, very rich.
Almost a marble look to it.
Yes, once again, it has that same earthy stone texture. And whenever you put that with this,
gorgeous
pop. I mean, so pretty. So this is going to go everywhere you see the royal blue dot here. So it is going to be just striking. Let's stop talking about it and show you because, wow, talk about a piece of art.
That is
I think
gorgeous.
It's just gorgeous. And that stone look kind of comes through, I think.
Yes.
You can really see that and how the number 3 really anchors it and the points on the contrast against the number 2 is just
That's
so
a wonderful, kind of a very modern look to this quilt.
And I think this could appeal to some men out there too. So if you're looking for a gift for a guy, this might be a good one.
Absolutely.
All right, let's get you the kit information. It is Granite Echo, and once again, it is our Nebula pattern from the Go Bold with 3-yard quilts.
Louvers is a fun one to make too. Super, super simple. We always tell you that about our patterns, but we write great instructions and we make them as simple as we possibly can. This block simply has a square, 2 strips, and 1 half square triangle. Super simple. And when you put it all together, it looks like you're looking through a window. So let's look at the fabric we have for this one. This is fun. Fun fabric.
Very fun.
All those brightly colored. What does that remind you of, Fran?
Well, you know, as kids, we used to do these projects where we would take little scraps of tissue paper and glue them down. That's what it reminds me of.
That's great.
Make things from it.
Yeah, it's a really pretty fabric, but
Very
we're going to put it in this quilt, and let me crop out this block for you because once again, we have a one block quilt. So you're going to start off with a strip assembly, and you'll cut your unit from that.
Yeah, easy.
Super easy.
Yeah.
And then over here, you're going to make a half square triangle. Super simple. And then you're going to sew a piece onto that.
Easy.
And then Voila, you put those two units together and you have your block. So it's
very
that
cool.
simple,
Very
and easy
simple.
to do.
Yeah.
So what's the number for the day?
1.
Okay, so we're going to put this gorgeous, gorgeous, bright colors. And it also kind of looks like little squares of glass or acrylic or something.
That's really
kind of
what it looks
acrylic
like.
with
Yeah.
lights showing
Yes,
through
it looks like light is shining through it.
Yeah. So we're going to put that everywhere you see the square here where the number 1 fabric goes. And then we're going to use the number 2 fabric everywhere the teal is.
Yeah.
And the number 3 fabric everywhere that the black is. Now this one is designed with the object in mind to make it look like this is a shadow down here. And so that's why you want that contrast between the light and the dark. And I would love to show you the image of this one. That is super fun.
Wow.
Look at all those colors.
Yes, and I think the light and the dark, the 2 and the 3 fabric really give you that dimensional look. That's what you need. So it looks like you're looking in to that beautiful stained glass.
Almost like you could, like Louvers, the name of it. It looks like you could pull the little cord and open and close the louvers on it.
Yeah.
I like that.
Very, very pretty.
And this kit is called Prismatic Dance. It's the Louvers pattern from Quilts on the Double. These patterns will go together super fast and they're lots of fun to make.
And if you would like to see all of the patterns from our 1-block 3-yard quilts book, be sure to watch the video that pops up.
Happy quilting!